ever wondered how entrepreneurs made their money in the first place? Well, here to tell us is Rupert Steiner, who's just come out with a book called My First Break, How Entrepreneurs Get Started. Welcome, firstly. You've got a lot of people in your book. Firstly, how did you choose the entrepreneurs? Because you have people like Bernie Ecclestone, Roger Saul from Mulberry, but you don't have people like Bill Gates.
That's right. Really just by people that interested me personally and people that I came across as I'm a journalist at the Sunday Times, people who I met through the course of my work that had fascinating stories about how they started their businesses.
Now, I mean, Richard Branson is one of them, Virgin Man. I mean, his story is quite well known. Were there any of your entrepreneurs who started off even worse, in a worse state than Richard Branson? Because at least he came from a good background, he went to Stowe College and all this kind of stuff.
Quite a few of them came from very poor backgrounds, and have been quite remarkable in the way they've started their businesses. Bernie Ecclestone's one who started selling buns in the playground when he was 9, and then left school, started selling motorbikes for a shop, and did so well and made so much commission he managed to buy the partner out. And look where he is now. He's £1.5 billion he's supposed to be worth.
Right, he's worth a lot of money. Now, obviously, you interviewed all the people in your book. Was there a common thread between them? Is there something you could pick out and think, well, something's almost marketable that you could market to people and say, if you had this in you, you would become a multimillionaire?
I suppose the only common thing really is that there isn't any common way to start a business. They've all done it different ways. I suppose if I was looking for one skill that they all had in common, or one quality that they've all had, it would be that they've all had the guts to go and do it. That they've all left a job, or they've all bitten the bullet and actually gone out there and against all the odds persevered when everyone's told them to give up.
That they've done it rather well. Now, I mean, is there anyone that stands out to mind that you think has really, I mean, apart from Branson, because everyone does see Branson, but they see him as such. Yeah, it's too cliche. Is there anyone there who he could look at and say, I would have liked to be like them?
The one that sticks in my mind, who isn't particularly famous, is a guy called Jonathan Elvidge, who started the gadget shops, which make up and down the country in high streets. He caught my imagination simply because when I interviewed him, I felt there was a real fire in his belly, and I could just identify with that, and I could see where he was coming from. He just had amazing confidence, and as an entrepreneur, he was completely determined and wasn't going to give up. And he started in Hull. He was a telephone engineer.
It's always the little ones that do it.
So it's just amazing.
Now, I mean, you look at all these great businessmen, and they've done so well. I mean, I use businessmen in a very, very loose term because they've done so well making the money, building up the company. But then in some cases, the company hasn't done as well as it could have. I mean, I look at Mulberry for one. I mean, as much as Roger Saul is I think he's a great guy and he's a great entrepreneur, the company hasn't run so well. Have you found that with a lot of them, that the companies haven't been run as well as they could?
Quite a lot of the entrepreneurs, their skill is coming up with ideas and creating a business. It isn't necessarily the same skills that you need to do.
Richer is a man who comes to mind who isn't in your book, from techno. I mean, who Richer Sounds, techno, the whole thing. I mean, he just goes on and on and on, and so he could be classed as a real entrepreneur. Whereas someone obviously who just takes a company, builds it up, but then doesn't run it too well.
One of the things in the book which we talk about is that a lot of entrepreneurs are deeply insecure, and they feel that they need to prove something. So they'll do it once, and then they'll feel that maybe people don't believe, maybe people think that's luck.
So they're megalomaniacs then.
So, well, they feel they need to prove something again and again and again. They're that motivated and that determined. If they fail, they feel they have to do it again to prove.
So they have to prove their point. Well, Rupert Steiner, thank you very much for coming in. Good luck with the book, My First Break: How Entrepreneurs Get Started. Thank you.
Didn't seem like 5 minutes.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like 5 minutes.